Hello Dave is brought to you ad-free by my supporters on Patreon. Become a Patreon yourself and get your name listed as a supporter at the end of every video by following the link in the video description.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Hello Dave with Down to Earth Astronomy. Last week, Distant World 2 expedition took off and crashed Elite Dangerous servers. Ed Lewis is leaving Frontier. A rather interesting bug fixing patch has been launched on Elite, and I'm hosting an open live stream. Monday last week, the Distant World 2 expedition took off. I, as many others, live streamed the event. Tried to get out just to see the guys off as they were leaving. It turned out to be a pretty short live stream because after the massive amount of players in the EU launch all jumped out of the same system into a new system at the same time, it was just too much for the servers to handle. And everything went down after that. It was down for a few hours and then the servers came back up. But this just adds to the long story of server issues that we have seen after the 3.3 update and the introduction of the dedicated mission server, as it has been named. I have a suspicion that it does a lot more than just missions, but at least some changes have been made to the network infrastructure that is running Elite Dangerous, and it seems to be rather unstable at the moment. We both saw as I mentioned with the Distant World 2, but there's also been lots of other problems, some of which has been addressed in the bug fixing patch, which we're going to talk about in a bit. But at least Distant World 2, they are now off, and they should be out, I think, for 18 weeks. So I wish all you guys out there the best of luck, and I hope you'll bring back some amazing discoveries and some amazing pictures and videos. Ed Lewis, which many of you may know from the Elite Dangerous live streams on the official channel, who's been a community manager for Elite for Frontier for many years, has decided to leave Frontier. I just thought I would mention it if you guys wonder why he suddenly no longer shows up on the live streams. I would expect that Will, who has also been been on the live streams very frequently, will take over. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be the case, but at least I want to wish Ed the best of luck with his new job. And of course, also this last week, the 3.3.02 patch has been launched. Now, these patches are something we often expect right after a major release. It's small bug fixes, tweaks, graphical glitches, stability fixes, those kind of things. Normally they're not that newsworthy, but there's quite a few interesting things, both that actually were in the patch and things that weren't. Now, of course, they've done stability issues, and especially those 10-15 second freezes should have been fixed now. I haven't experienced any of them since the patch, so it seems they're fixed. Which is good. They were really, really annoying, but those seems to have been fixed. Lots and lots of other stability issues. I'm not going to run through the whole patch note, but there's lots of small tweaks here and there. But one thing I felt like I was expecting that it would have been in the patch, but wasn't, was the already announced fix or nerf, or however you want to call it, to the ablation blasters. Many of you, of course, knows when you're out mining, if you have multiple ablation blasters, you can fire on a single surface fragment, and you can get multiple fragments out of it. And the Frontiers already said that that's something they want to fix and that they're working on fixing, so I was actually expecting that to be part of this patch, but it was not, indicating that it was a little bit more difficult to fix than just a straight up like small fix a few lines of code here and be done with it. That seems to be a little bit more difficult for some reason. But again, that thing is probably going to come eventually. In terms of other fixes, there were some rather interesting ones. Now, you might, if you read the patch note right as it was out, one thing that I noticed was there was also no mention of changes to the high grades. Again, as you may know, you could run high grades over and over again. And that has, of course, been fixed, and it wasn't in the patch note. And it's unfortunately something I have seen happen quite regularly with patch note from Frontier. that that things they change, especially things they nerf, have a tendency never to make it into the patch notes. And it makes the life as a content creator extremely difficult, because normally when a patch comes out, I would ideally just read through the patch note and figure, okay, is there anything in this patch that I want to cover that is newsworthy, that changes the game in a significant way, other than just fixes. Now, if it's not in the patch note, that pretty much means if I can't trust what's in the patch note, that pretty much means I'll have to go out and test every single thing again every time there's a patch. Now, I don't, of course, do that. Normally, you guys are very good at reporting in if things change, because it's just not feasible for me to test everything. But in this occasion, what I did was then wrote to Will and asked, what's up? Why is this not in the patch note? Why have you left this out? He replied back and said that was an oversight, it was a mistake, and if you go in and read the patch note now, the second to last paragraph, you will see that it is now in fact in there. So I really hope that that this is something that's gonna be changed. I don't know why these things slip out of the patch notes, but it does make things a little bit more difficult to try and keep track of what's actually going on in the game when they change things like this. So I hope that the patch notes in the future will be a little bit more complete than they have been so far. There's also some rather interesting changes in the patch note that's just mentioned. One of them is, and I quote here, override system's default government label to dictatorship when allegiance label is set to Thargoid. I expect that this is an indication that we're going to see Thargoid controlled systems. I know that we already can. I don't know if this is like, there are some indications you can see which systems are controlled by the Thargoids already. I don't know if that's just what they changed. I'm not sure if this is going to mean we're going to see an increase in the number of systems being taken over by Thargoids. Again, this is a little bit speculation. I just thought it was curious to that there was in there, and especially because I think the Thargoid narrative has slowed down quite a bit. The story aspect in Elite has not been progressing that much lately. So I guess we'll wait and see what happens with the whole Thargoid thing. At least a lot of stations are now again begin to be attacked, which I think is an effect of the changes they made with the whole Thargoid attacking. Seems to be now tied into the whole BGS thing. So it's like random events that happens, and if you can't avoid it, well, then the Thargoids will like begin to completely ruin that system. And I guess if there's no BGS factions active in the specific system, well, if you don't keep a close eye on it, there are of course some anti-Xeno initiatives that go out and try to deal with these kind of things. But it still seems, just from looking at the map, that the vast number of stations being attacked is quite overwhelming. Another thing that was also mentioned here was, and again I read from the patch note, added a megaship icon to the Squadron Allegiance screen. Again, that's a rather interesting thing. We know that, of course, megaships has been increased in numbers since the 3.3 patch. There's a lot more of them to try and work with the whole scenarios that are around megaships, where you can fly out and you could either ally with them or fight against them, like joining a pirate wing, attacking it. There's some stuff going on around there, so they play a much bigger role in the game now than they did in the past, where they were just passive objects that would move around and nothing really happened. But they're a lot more active now. I guess the reason why they added this icon was because it is already an important part in BGS, background simulations, but I expect it's going to have a megaship's going to play a larger and larger effect, and maybe Frontier's going to use these megaships to test some of the gameplay that we're going to see around fleet carriers once these are eventually introduced into the game. Again, we've seen this tactic being used by Frontier a lot of times in the past, where they would introduce ship-launched fighters to try and see how it worked having a ship, like a smaller fighter ship, being controlled or being somehow like programmably attached to a bigger ship. and they were introduced, and then later we began to actually see the Thargoids with the Thargon swarms. So we've seen these kind of things a lot in the past, and there's other examples of it where Frontier introduced some game mechanic to try and test the game mechanic that's going to be used for something else, something bigger. So my thought is that some of the things that they might be using the increased number of megaships are maybe some of the stuff that they're testing out in terms of fleet carriers. Now, whether those are going to be a complete one-to-one transfer over, like the gameplay, I don't think so. But at least I think they are using it to maybe test how combat with megaships could work by attacking modules and that kind of thing. I think it's something like that they are looking into. So maybe megaships is going to be able to be attacked when they, fleet carriers are going to be able to be attacked when they come out. I don't know, but this could be an indication of that as maybe the way they're going. But again, this is also very much speculations. So as you can see, a rather interesting bug fixing patch, I think at least. The last thing that I want to mention this week is that tomorrow, Tuesday, I will be streaming, of course, as my usual time slot, 8 o'clock in-game time. But tomorrow is going to be a little different because I'm once again hosting an open live stream. That means that all you guys who want to participate in the live stream are more than welcome to join on Discord. We will then meet up in a system. It'll be fairly close to our home system, LP. There'll be more info on Discord once we get closer. But I'm gonna find a system, and we're then gonna get everybody who participates should bring an eagle, normal eagle, no eye eagles, just a normal eagle, and you can do with that exactly what you want. We're gonna do some PvE combat, so bring some weapons. But you're allowed to fit power play weapons. You're allowed to engineer it. You're allowed to do whatever with it you like. Completely up to you. Just bring an eagle. And again, I'll announce the system on Discord once we get a little bit closer. It might already have been announced now, but at least now I'm quoting this Sunday. I haven't found the system just yet. But I will announce that system on Discord, and then we meet up in the system before the stream. We start at 8 o'clock, and then we'll form up in wings of eagles, and we'll go out to maybe conflict zones, hash-rest sites, places like that, and we will wreak absolutely havoc. And it's usually a ton of fun when we do these kind of things. Getting a lot of eagles together and just wrecking up anacondas left and right with all the small weapons. So that's a ton of fun. I hope you will join. And if not, then I hope at least you will come by and watch the live stream, because it's usually a ton of fun. But I think that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a like. If you haven't subscribed already, remember to do that. And until next time, I will see you guys in space.